Hi everyone. This is a longer video. This is going to show you my attempt at basically building a newsletter agent using Agent AI. And so the process that I'm following is first, I have an agent that allows me to capture a person's email, test2 at test.com, and then their topic of interest, which in this case, let's say it's college visits and college admissions, let's say. And so this is basically going to now email this person. The goal is to build a newsletter that people can subscribe to. They can give their email, they can give their topic of interest, and then I'll have an agent that basically goes and builds a newsletter and then emails it back to this email. So the way this is set up is once you enter this, it goes and I get an email and there's test two and college admissions. What I need to do now is basically I need to manually, currently this is kind of my process. This is a little bit of a hack, but I couldn't think of a better workaround for now. And then I can go back to the email and I can say this is the topic that they're interested in. Copy that and then paste it over here. And so now I have my list of subscribers. Then the next step is to build an agent that will go read this list of subscribers and then for each subscriber loop through it in a for loop and then research on the topic and then email them. And so that's the flow that I have. So I'm going, this is saved here. And you can see that if I go to Postman and if I go run this web API, so I did a separate video which talks about how to expose a Google Sheet as a web API so that I can then call it from Agent.ai. So you can see now these are my three variables. So that's working. And so now let me show you the actual agent that I built uh, to actually go to the email to the subscribers. So here I'm making the REST call and getting this as output in Google Sheets data. What that now will do is it'll return me my three uh, users and the three people who want a newsletter. Then what I'm doing is, and this is where things start getting interesting, is I need to basically take that, which is a JSON array, and then each object has email and topic. There can be many objects. I'm giving very specific information because I want the output now to be a list. Now, if you'd seen my video on for loops, you know that the way it's set up is it will only work with a list that has, it's a single list. So what it means is I cannot give it a two by two. Um, I assume there is a way to do a two by two by embedding for loops within for loops, but I haven't got to that yet. So to keep it simple, what I did is I basically take the email and topic, and rather than have them as two variables, I basically convert them into one text variable separated by a semicolon. And then if there are, spaces, then I put an underscore over there. And so now what you have is this is what the output will look like. Test at test.com colon generative AI, comma test at test.com agent force. And this is the output. And now I have a list of emails and topics that then I can now pass to the for loop. And so now I can say this is the loop, loop through that. And then what I need to do is obviously the next step is to separate those things out. So I'm going to now say that take this, split it on the semicolon. If there are any dashes, replace them back with spaces. And then here's the variable to pass. So the way I do this is now, again, I have to do it. I need two variables now in my for loop. One is going to be the email, one is going to be the topic. So this one basically just returns the email. So that's what I get. And then and so to test this out, what I need to do is basically, the debugger doesn't work. And so the hack for that was that I basically add emails in the middle of my flow to make sure that things are working. So as an example, I'm going to move this up so you can see what is happening. And so at this point, I'm just going to output. Let's see, go here to this list email topic just to show that the inputs are coming in. So here I go and I paste it over there. And so what I should get in my email is, in this case, because I now have three in my newsletter, I should get three of them. So I am going to now run this just to show you how I did the debugging. This I think is very, very important because it doesn't just work. You got to go run through a few steps. So in this case, since it's listening to a web API, there is no input. It's automatically going to run. All I need to now go is go look at my email. And there we go. You see, I got my test at test.com, generative AI, test one, agent force, and then this is the last one that I just added, EST. Forgot to do it properly. Um, but here is my list object that got created. So obviously, if I have 100 people, I'll have a list object with 100 of them. So now you can see that at least that part of the process is working. And so I'm going to now delete this because what happens is if you put this email, it kind of stops the process. At that point of time, the output is sent. It doesn't go through and do the rest. So I'm going to delete this from there. And now I'm just going to run this. And what it should do is basically now loop through. So I basically took this email list topic and I am first pulling out the email. So that's out underscore email. Then I am pulling out the topic. So basically replacing any underscores with space. So now I get out underscore topic because my loop variable, if you remember, had both of them concatenated together. And then I'm saying go get Google News on the topic and then use Claude to go and format this and then email it to the person and then loop through. The one bug that I found is that, again, it for some reason, even though it does send three emails, it's not looping through it. But just to show you how this looks, I'm going to now run this. And what should happen is now go through and I should look and I should see eventually after some time. This was, okay, there we go. 8:11 a.m. So you can see generative AI news. And so that was the first person. That was the first topic. And so you can see that I got my newsletter. It's not formatted and stuff, but you get the idea. Uh, Now, what I would have liked is three emails, but for some reason, once it sends that email, it doesn't seem to work. So um, you'll notice, see, so that was 8:12 generative AI news, 8:11 generative AI news, and then I think you'll get a third email, which basically is again generative AI news. So for some reason, it's not finding the next items, but you can see it's looping through and running this three times. And so that's the piece I need to debug. But this was my hack to build a newsletter. Hope you found this useful.